I'm so camera conscious. Oh my god. When I'm on camera, I act like a complete retard. Oh, hello guys. Welcome to the new patch review. In this video, I will be coming back from the dead, making retarded jokes, and also reviewing the new patch. Okay guys, we're gonna start this video by doing something that I absolutely hate it when other people do. But I'm doing it myself, so that kind of makes me a hypocrite. But I'm gonna do an update at the start of this video to give you some information on what's going on. I know you came here to watch this video, you came here to probably see my thoughts on this new patch, what I think about the changes, to explain the changes to you, and I'm just talking about some unrelated crap that you probably don't give a damn about, and I'm really sorry for this, but I have to just tell you what's going on in my life, okay? So I'm gonna make videos. I hope to make like one video a day playing the new changes, the heroes that were changed, just to show them off from the new patch. And then after that, I probably will try and go to about one video every 2 days, which will be around 3 videos a week. I'll try stand that schedule. Now, one thing, and don't kill me for this, please, one thing, the next video I release after this one will probably be a Dark Souls 2 video. Before you dislike this video and hate me forever, just listen for a second. I'm not doing this because I just really want to upload a Dark Souls 2 video, although I kind of do. But I have about 300 to 400 gigabytes of Dark Souls 2 stuff recorded, just footage, and I'm gonna make a 5-10 minute video out of it. Now, I am running out of space, and I really want to delete that stuff and make more space for the HoN videos and HoN content, but I really don't want to have 400 gigabytes of recordings to go completely to waste. So I'm just gonna, after this video, still today, I will release a Dark Souls 2 video just giving my thoughts on the game, 5-10 minutes, and then we'll go to HoN tomorrow and all the days after, okay? Is that cool? Are you still watching this video? Or did you skip ahead? I don't know. This video is about this version of the patch 3.7 for Bob. So I think this is important, what it says here, to just give you guys an idea of why the changes are happening. Now I want to preface all of this by saying I'm not a HoN designer, alright? My responsibilities are different, but I like to submit ideas, and I think I can argue my ideas very well, and that's why my ideas are often taken, and I can have some part in the design process. Not mainly a designer, but I can argument my things well, and I don't like logical fallacies, which makes my argument stronger usually. So, the reason for a lot of these changes, if you're wondering why are we doing what we're doing, is that we're trying to diversify the hero pool. What this means is that we want every single hero in the game, is the recording fine? Okay, every single hero in the game to be unique. Alright? For every hero to have something about him that no other hero does. So that when you pick a hero, the enemy team goes, oh, or rather, instead of the enemy team going, oh, well, that hero is some AoE magic damage and like some disables. Instead, when you pick a hero, the enemy team goes, oh, he picked that one thing, so he has that one unique thing in his lineup right now that no other hero does. And that's the point. And I know a lot of people just straight up don't like change. And it will take no amount of convincing to convince you. You just straight up don't like any kind of change to the game. And I'm sorry, but the point of these changes is to make every pick matter more. And the reason people play HoN is for the replayability, because there are so many hero combinations, right? And item combinations. Every game is different. And we're just trying to push that more, because if every hero you pick matters a lot more and has something a lot more unique about him, then it will be a lot more interesting to see those different combinations, because it won't be just like, oh, well, this game you have this much AoE damage and this many disables. Instead, it will be this game you have this unique thing and this thing that nobody has, and this guy who like ignores stuns completely, and this guy who has a global nuke. Like, all of these unique things will be played in match, and that's pretty much the reason. The more diversity in the pool, when every hero contributes something that no other hero does, I think a lot better the game will be. in the short and in the long run. So Nitro is a new hero. My thoughts on this hero, in just to a quick summary, is that the hero takes quite a bit of skill to play. You need to land your shots on Q, and W takes quite a bit of micro. You also need to be aware of your positioning, which leads me to think that some people might not enjoy this hero too much because he's just too hard to play. But in terms of uniqueness, very unique hero because of the mechanics of your W and Q. Not present in the game. The unique thing that the hero adds to the game is being able to attack and shoot while moving. So I'm not sure how exactly that will work out. We'll probably have to see and how the metagame evolves. But yeah, just something unique to the game. So we're gonna go to the changes. We're gonna start with this controversial change that a lot of people like to talk about: the courier. Everyone now has a personal courier. You press a hotkey, the courier delivers your items to you. The courier is invulnerable, but it takes the courier more time because he's slower than before. And you can activate the ability again if the courier tried to deliver the items and you were full, and you're like, oh god damn it, I'm full, I hate my life, why is my inventory full? You just press the hotkey again and the courier, instead of going all the way back to base, returns to you. So a lot of people say that this makes the game easier and stuff. Now First of all, I want to say that yes, it does make the game a little bit easier. Now, the main point I want to address is that a lot of people are seriously blowing this change way out of proportion, claiming unspeakable things that are just not true, okay? If you have an opinion that this makes the game a little bit easier, I understand. But if you're claiming that we're removing a lot of skill from the game and making this League of Legends, please, are you serious? You can't be real. Some kind of everyone is acting as if they scouted with the courier always and always super micro. No! 1% of people maybe ever scouted with the courier. The most you would have done is checked Congo or something. People just don't scout with the courier. All of these theoretical things and nobody does. If you still want to micro, how about this? You pick literally any hero and you get Whispering Helm. And you dominate a creep. Arguably, Whispering Helm, if you control the creep very well, is the best item in the game because you get so much value out of it. Because you can micro, maybe get a Minotaur, stun at the perfect moment in the perfect place, or get some kind of different creeps, grab a bunch of creeps, micro them together, but nobody does that, right? Why? Because it takes a lot of skill and it's tedious. Which brings me to my point, please don't act like this is some kind of huge amount of skill. I personally am one of those people who ingrained it in my brain and my muscle memory to use the courier. Select the courier with 4, buy items, Q, E, Shift, R, select the hero with 1. Q, E, Shift, R, Q, E, Shift, R. I've learned to do that within fractions of a second. There's not a lot of skill in this, okay? It's just remembering to press these buttons, and the impact it has is so little, you get your items a second sooner, after 10 seconds instead of 11, than someone who doesn't do this. Alright, it's not a huge amount of skill. Now, a lot of people will say, well, you could still scout, or that rare situation. If there is still a need for scouting with a microable unit, which is still possible with a Whispering Helm, or a hero that has a unit that does it like Tundra, but nobody plays that, right? Nobody plays it because microing is a bother, but for some reason with the courier it's a big deal when it's removed. But if there is a need to add this ability to scout with the courier or buy items on the courier to teleport to the enemy base with a puzzle box, it will potentially be added in the future. There are all these ideas thrown out, and a lot of these ideas have been tested. Well, why can't the courier be vulnerable? It has been tested. It was tried. There was a reason to change it to invulnerable, okay? It didn't just happen randomly. And a lot of other suggestions are potentially even being still tested right now. So it's not like everything else has been ruled out. So please, I want you to calm down, try this Korean game, and realize that the small, tiny amount of skill that the courier added to the game caused so much frustration. People are talking about this team coordination that's required to use the courier. No. If it really required team coordination, what would happen is When someone uses the courier, or when he's gonna use the courier, he would say, okay team, listen team, I'm gonna use the courier in exactly 2 minutes. Plan and adjust for that. Prepare yourself, because I'm gonna use the courier at that time. And then in 2 minutes he used the courier, and you go, oh, I already placed my item in the courier, and I moved myself closer to him so that we can both get it sooner. Yeah, we planned for this, we strategized, we coordinated. No, that never happens. I would venture to guess in the majority of competitive games as well, this never happens. What really happens is you go, I need my items right now. Let me use the courier. Oh, the courier is taken. I guess I'll just wait 1 minute and try again later. That's how it works. Nobody makes these magical coordinates. Okay, just calm down. What about the amount of griefing it removes? First of all, you don't have to bother with the, don't take the courier before 2 minutes from the mid, before he gets his model. You don't have to bother about that. You don't have to cause rage for your mid player. Don't have to worry yourself. You can't grief with the courier anymore. You can't send it to its death and then be like, well, I'm not a support, someone else should buy it again, even though I killed it. You can't drop your teammates' items on the ground anymore. That's gone. Like, all courier griefing is gone, and all rage concerning the courier is just gone. The small amount of skill that this added, in my personal opinion, is not worth it. And I want everyone to understand, I am this player who really likes the game to be very skilled. When changes happen and they dumb down the game or make something easier, Kitty, Jesus Christ, my cat is crazy. Can you see something here? There's like a cat here. Okay, so when changes happen that reduce the skill of the game, I am almost always the first person against it. I go, no, let's not do this, or I go, let's add something more skill to the game. Let's make this change more skillful to user, like be more high risk, high reward. And I am for this change, okay? It did not take a lot of skill, in my opinion, and it caused a lot of griefing. Like, how many times did you use the courier to scout? Let's be honest. How many times did you do that? And how many times did the courier cause you frustration? Alright? So, I am for this change because of the amount of frustration it removes. If I wanted, I still kind of want more skill in the game, I would much rather add it through different means. Add some kind of different thing. For example, my idea for a Blood Chalice was to, instead of giving a charge for it collecting charge, instead make it more risky to use it, and make you take extra damage, but if you do manage to get a kill on it, it would heal you for more than it does. So that kind of like more high skill, high reward, so that it rewards players who pull it off. Like, I would rather add different kinds of skill in the game than this small amount of skill that causes so much frustration. Okay? That's my opinion. I like this change. I highly advise you to go try it in game. If you think that this removed too much skill from the game and you want it back, pick up a Whispering Helm and micro that. And micro it as much as you want. And it's, I don't know, you're not gonna do it. Let's be honest. Okay? So, please calm down. Finally, we can move on. I hope I at least explained where I'm coming from. Like, the amount of frustration this caused, the amount of skill it required is not as high as people claim, okay? Stop, like, I don't want to say this, but people are being hypocrites. They're telling about all this stuff that you could do with the courier that nobody almost ever did. Like, every one time that I had to, like, use this skilled thing on the courier, every one time I would get griefed 20 times, or I would get frustrated with it 20 times, because, like, I put my items in the courier and I used it and someone else used it after me and my items didn't get delivered. It's not my fault. Like, it's someone else being bad and his mistakes impacting me, and it's just frustrating. Okay, let's move on. Words now revealed. This is to make up for the courier not being able to see uphill. This kind of helps you with the words. Basically, when you place a word of revelation, for 12 seconds it will reveal words within the area. So if something is uphill and you can't see it, you just place a word of revelation, you will see it. If someone places a word after you placed your word of revelation, but within these 12 seconds, it won't be revealed. So it only reveals the words the moment you place it for 12 seconds. So tower targeting, you no longer get targeted by towers over creeps, unless you attack the enemy hero, obviously. This is amazing because sometimes the tower is so fucking random. Like, it just randomly decides to attack you, and it costs so many kills often. And causes so much frustration. Like, why did the tower attack me and not some random creep instead? So what this means is that when you're pushing with a creep wave and you're attacking the tower will not attack you until all the creeps are dead. But if you're attacking an enemy hero, the tower will still switch on you, which is okay and good. But it no longer just randomly selects, oh, I'll just randomly attack your hero and screw you over for no reason. Okay? Now, laning. Lane creeps yield additional 20% experience if at least one other hero is present. Now, I think this change is very interesting, and I really like it for one reason. I don't like suicides. I don't like the concept of suicides, where you basically send a hero in a lane that just gets a minimal amount of experience or a minimal amount of farm and just doesn't completely lose that lane. And you just don't really care about that lane. You give up on it. Rarely you win it, but most of the time you just give the enemy free farm. And it's just like pretty much giving up on the lane from both teams. Like, one team sends a hero to free farm, one team sends a hero to just not suck completely. And this punishes that, because if you have at least 2 heroes in a lane, you will get more experience out of the same amount of creeps. So, discourages suiciding a little bit, which I really like. That's just my opinion. This encourages dual laning. So, yeah, I really like this change. If you're thinking jungle heroes are a bit worse now, there's a change later on that makes jungling a bit better, so it should balance out. But in general, I just don't like suicides. In super beta, when we test games, almost every game it's a freaking suicide. And you let the other hero free farm. It's getting boring, and yeah, I hope this changes that. It's much more fun when you have like an equal lane and you're 2 against 2 and you can win or you can lose or you can ask for a gank. But when it's a suicide, it's just kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna farm, maybe you'll try gank me, maybe I'll try get a gank, but in general I'm gonna win the lane and use a suicide or just gonna just be there and soak experience. It's just not fun for anyone involved. I don't get to play and like use my skills on you much, you don't get to do much, you just sit there and leech experience. Just not fun in general. Now, pushing in resources, I'll sum these changes up for you. Basically, creeps are much more effective at taking down towers than heroes. Or not than heroes, but than before, so that by comparison, heroes are not as good without creeps. And yeah, creeps move faster, creeps deal more damage, spawn faster, like they start spawning more creeps faster. Just in general, promoting more play with the creeps and potentially ending the games a bit faster, which I like. And makes, as a consequence, backdooring a bit worse. Now, normal mode changes. These changes, I'll sum them up quickly for you. Basically, what this means is that now if a hero is very far behind, like, for example, support who died 0-10, killing that hero will not give as much gold as before, and that hero dying will not lose as much gold as before. So, basically, if you're a support whose life is just horrible, this will affect you. You can lose up to half gold less. So most of the time this will not be half, it will be less. You'll like maybe lose 30-20% less gold and give 30-20% less gold to the enemy. But just in general, that kind of thing. My personal opinion is that I'm a bit skeptical on this, because heroes like Fade currently, who they work by killing squishy supports, and they still fall off late game. Like late game Fade sucks, right? Especially if you go Codex. You're gonna suck even if you're like on a bloodbath. Eventually you will fall off and give the enemy a chance to win, which to me tells that the previous system worked. Like the previous system was good because Fade could capitalize for like in the early mid game on those 15 kills, but then later in the game she would fall off, which means the system was working. So if Fate kept killing low supports, she would not get too much value out of it already. But these changes push it a bit further. But one thing is that this makes comebacks a lot more possible. So if you're super far behind and you want to press that concede button, like I often do, I give up often. Okay, I give up. I like to give up. If you want to do that, reconsider, because you could win. Maybe not the lottery, but a HoN game is still pretty good. Casual mode. What happened? I don't know. Just something weird happened. My cat is going insane. Kitty. Kitty, calm down. Kitty. Jesus Christ, Kitty. What's wrong? Can you guys hear that? Okay, calm down, cat. Okay, everything is alright. You're a good kitty. Okay, I'm gonna go feed my cat, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm back. Cat is eating. So, we're gonna go over the hero changes. I'm gonna mention which heroes I'm gonna play in the videos that are gonna be following. Most likely one video a day. I'll try make it one video a day. So I'll be playing the changed heroes to show you some gameplay of how the changes affected it, if the changes were significant enough. I'll let you know if I do in this video. So first of all, Arachna, her hardened carapace can now be used while stunned or silenced, and her second ability does remove debuffs. So basically you can unsilence yourself if you use W now, but you have to level it to level 2, so early game you will 90% of the time want your E instead, because it allows you to last hit and farm better. So yeah, just kind of an interesting thing there. Your precision has also been changed, so basically here's how it works. The aura effect now only gives allies True Strike, right? So only on level 4 does the aura work on allies, because you only give your allies True Strike, but it does give True Strike to both melee and ranged allies like creeps and heroes. However, the second part, the bonus damage, only works on yourself, on the Arachna. It does not give other allies that. So it gives you bonus damage depending on how low you are. So I worked out the math, and basically early game on level 1, when the creep, you deal more bonus damage the more missing health the creep has, and the most damage you deal when the creep is at 20% of health or lower. So it gives early game roughly on level 1 about 10 bonus damage if you hit a creep when it's low, and gives you 20 bonus damage against a hero that is very low, which is going to happen rarely. There's a limit of 120 bonus maximum damage. However, you have to keep in mind that this limit only works when you get the maximum bonus. At least that's how I believe it is. So in other words, if you have more than 120 damage, you still get the benefit out of the skill, because what if the target is only missing half health, in which case you only get like 60% bonus damage or something. In that case, the damage bonus can still go up to 120. So what this means, this makes Arachna a much better last hitter in lane and a much better harasser. Basically makes Arachna a force to be reckoned with, which could potentially be a bit too annoying to play against. But the important part of this is that it fixes Arachna's biggest problem with her design. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, because I didn't really participate in changing Arachna much. I just kind of looked at the changes and I'm like, yeah, this looks alright. Arachna's Q works for a duration, like for 2-3 seconds, right? When you put this slow on someone. However, Arachna's E, the previous one, benefits from, or benefited from, base damage, which is agility. The more agility you got, the more bonus on your E you got. The problem with that is that agility gives you attack speed as well as damage. And attack speed does not help Q in any way. In fact, it makes Q worse because you're going to be spending more mana on it. So this allows Arachna to more decisively go for a build of pure damage. You get a lot of damage because it benefits your E, and your Q won't suffer from extra attack speed, which will be wasted. So basically now build Arachna not by getting a lot of agility, like let's see, Geometer's Bane, maybe you got a Frostburn or something, or what other items does Arachna get? Maybe like a Genjuro, which could still be a decent item. But instead you focus more on damage now, like Assassin Shroud, like Rift Shards, maybe something like a Shield Breaker. I don't know. Does Arachna's Q still have the attack modifier? I think that was removed. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Whatever. So I will be playing Arachna. I will make video on Arachna because these are pretty significant changes and they change her playstyle a lot. So Artillery, just a small nerf to Q, costs a lot of mana to start casting it. I won't be making a video about him. It's pretty much the same. Behemoth W also nerfed just to adjust. His win percent was a bit too high. He was a bit overpowered. Not overpowered, but a bit too strong. Not going to be playing that. Calamity, some nerfs to her Q. Mana cost increased. Our range reduced. Calamity is a bit too strong. Won't be playing her. Chronos. Now Chronos' the third skill has been changed to be more like Legionnaire, where it's more random based, which makes him a worse suicide because you can't predict the stun as well, and it's not as reliable. So instead, it's more of a carry skill now, especially because it deals bonus damage, double the damage, when the target is trapped by your ultimate. So the combo of jump in, ult, and just smash a target down into the ground and kill it is now a lot better because you're going to be dealing more damage with your E. Not a lot more, but kind of a bit. So Chronos is basically being pushed away from the suicide and more into the carry, which he should be, which I'm all for, because you know my opinion on suicides. But that's not the main reason for it. I just like this change in general. So I might play Chronos, but this change is kind of small and kind of unnoticeable, so probably won't. Now Deadlift. There's some changes to his other skill, which are kind of quality of life, I would say. Like he's a bit less strong early game and a bit better late game because like the cooldown has been reduced by quite a bit on the second skill. But the biggest thing is the Q. It now travels a lot further. Instead of channeling for 2.6 seconds, we could channel it for 4.6 seconds, which goes up to 3,300 range, I believe, at maximum channel time. So you can channel it for a lot longer and cover a much wider distance. So because of this change being quite significant, I might play Deadlift. Make a Deadlift video. Deadwood, so this change says now does physical damage over time, but cast effect is still magic. What does that mean? It means that Shrunken Head still counters this skill, so you won't get caught when you use a Shrunken Head and become magic immune. So the cast type is magic, meaning it tries to trap you as if it was a magic skill, but it deals physical instead of magic damage, meaning if you get trapped you take physical damage because it works a lot better with the minus armor that it gives, because it reduces your physical armor when you're trapped by 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's why the damage has been reduced, because it already reduces the physical armor, so to compensate the damage has to be knocked down a bit. But it just goes more with Deadwood being a physical damage hero. And the ultimate, these changes are kind of strange. They're like supposed to make him better, but I think he will remain roughly the same, or maybe a bit stronger. What's wrong, cat? Just basically normal stuff. I'm not gonna make a video on this, but supposedly makes Deadwood better. The gist of it is that he's better against heroes who have a lot of strength. Now this math might seem weird, like 90 multiplied by 35%. What the hell? My initial reaction was the same, but just remember that each point of strength gives you 19 health. What this means is that you will be dealing damage equal to 35% of the health they have from strength. So yeah, Defiler has been buffed. This buff to the number of spirits on her ultimate is not that big of a deal to me. What is a bigger deal combined with this change is the strength increased by 4. It's quite a lot of health, like 80 health. It's pretty good. So I think I will play Defiler. I think she will be a lot better as a pusher and should be a lot more interesting to play. Flint Beastwood got some changes, some quality of life on Q and R, just like reduction mana or whatever. I won't mention quality of life changes in this patch review because they're just like simple buffs or nerfs, like in numbers, nothing special. I will go more over the design changes. Like for example, the Deadeye now gives you invisibility. So if you stand still for 1.5 seconds, you become invisible. If you move or attack or do anything, you become visible again. So if the enemy team has AoE skills and stuff, they can still hit you because they know exactly where you're standing. You can't really use it as an escape, but in a dire situation, you can try and stand still and hope they don't have Revelation or Area of Effect skills. Now, what this changes is that you will now want one level of E instead of skipping it entirely until later on, because Hollow Point shells now give you 100% chance to proc that bonus damage if you attack out of the invisibility from your E, which will make last hitting creeps a lot more consistent and reliable with the bonus damage from your W. So overall, just a very nice change. Again, gives something unique to Flint Beastwood that no other hero has, that you can become invisible if you stand still, and just a very interesting thing. And also increases vision. That's also quite unique for Flint Beastwood. Mostly this will help when you're trying to ult someone very far away outside of your sight range. So the next rework that we will be playing in a video, in addition to the Flint, is Forsaken Archer. This is the rework I have been working on. So your Q can now be used while moving, so you don't have to stop to cast it, but the biggest changes are to W and E. This is the wrong icon. It's not the ultimate that was changed, it was the E. So split fire is now basically not bad. Before, it would split your attacks that deal 36% of your damage on the max level. Now, splits attacks into more targets, up to 5, and deals 80% of your damage. You're basically almost dealing your full damage to 5 people, and the initial target that you attack always takes full damage. And also, you get attack speed while the skill is on now. So even against a single target, it's a bit better. But basically, you're now this huge AoE damage machine, which is now the new role of Forsaken Archer and the unique thing that she does that nobody else can. And Draconis will receive a rework later on. Don't worry about Draconis overlapping or anything. We tried to make it cost mana, but it just made the skill kind of bad to feel bad and bad to use. So instead, the drawback is that while you have it on, you take increased damage by 15%. This is the same as to compare as when you use Elder Parasite. You take 15% extra damage from everything. So if you're in a one-on-one situation, you probably want to have this skill off unless you're like super far ahead and there's no way the enemy hero can kill you. But if you get stunned by mistake and a couple of heroes jump you when this skill is on, you're gonna get destroyed, so be careful. But when there's a lot of stuff to attack, or when you're farming the jungle, definitely have the skill on. It just feels very good. The third skill was changed. The skeletons no longer you collect them. Instead, it's now basically like a magic damage critical hit, where Jesus Christ, where the critical hits can't proc extra critical hits themselves, which isn't interesting. But what this means is that it makes the most viable build on Forsaken Archer to go for damage, because this skill kind of works on a cooldown and kind of works like on a 10% chance. That means that you can't really speed it up too much, the rate that they spawn, although you kind of can if you get attack speed. It can spawn more often, but in general, you will want to build pure damage on Forsaken Archer. The more damage you have, the more effective this skill will be, especially combined with your other skills. This effect of 10% triggers whenever you or your units deal damage, right? This means when you Q, it can proc when you land the Q. When you use your ultimate, every arrow can proc it. When you spawn a puzzle box minion, it can proc this effect on Forsaken Archer. And it deals 40% of Forsaken Archer's damage, not anything else. So if a puzzle box minion procs it, it doesn't deal 40% of puzzle box's minions damage, but Forsaken Archer's damage. So we'll definitely be playing this. The biggest thing is that now you won't just stupidly level stats. At least that was my build. I leveled Q and stats because W and E kind of sucked, and I skipped them until later on. But now it is a good build. The preferable build will be to go for Q and W, so that on level 8 or so, or 9, you can start farming jungle stacks very fast. And later on in the game, where the scaling skill, the skill that scales most with your damage, that's when you want to level E. So Glacia's got a new Staff of the Master. My favorite thing about this is that it's no longer just a skill that straight up gives you a boring damage boost. Instead, it's a skill that gives you a different use for the ultimate, where it's more of a disable. So that's kind of interesting and nice. Gladiator just being toned down a bit because he was a bit too strong. Gunblade, he's finally making a turn into more of a farming hero, where his third skill now works against creeps if you're next to the creep. Doesn't deal as much bonus damage against heroes, but half. And the cooldown of your ultimate has been reduced. Basically very good changes. I think this will definitely bump up the usage of Gunblade, because farming is a big deal in the hero. He is kind of a carry. He wants to deal the bonus damage, so he wants to get those items, and this will definitely help you out. Clanks, slight nerfs like the mana cost increase and some swaps on the minions. Just Clanks being too good, basically, and receiving slight adjustments. Lord Sarforis got some pretty good. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to mention, I might play Gunblade. I won't play Clanks, Gladiator, etc., but I might play Gunblade, because this is a pretty significant change. So we'll probably make a video on that. So Sulfuris just received in general buffs. The biggest change of these, I would ignore most of this, except, well, the Staff of the Master is now more viable a bit, but the biggest change is this. Minimum true damage per second increased from 10 to 15. Now you might think this is not a big deal, but this makes the jungle Sulfuris a lot better. When there's 5 creeps and the damage is split between all of them, you'll be dealing like 50% more damage now, because it goes from 10 to 15. So jungle Sulfur is a lot better now. We'll be killing camps a lot faster and stuff. So yeah, good changes. Might play a Sulfurous jungle. So yeah, there's damage increases, magic armor increases, just Sulfurous receiving buffs because he's doing pretty poorly. Magebane has more magic armor now. His mana combustion has been reworked, and Mana Rift now has a larger area. So the biggest impact of this is that it's not as annoying early game because it burns less mana early on when you hit people. So it will be less of a nightmare to lane against Magebane, but later on it's more useful because you will most of the time be burning more mana than currently. So yeah, there's kind of good adjustments to Magebane. Won't be playing. Moira receives some nerfs. Her Q stuns for a lower duration, deals less damage. I like these because I see Moira in every single freaking game in competitive. Every single competitive game. Just Moira everywhere. Kitty, what are you even doing? So yeah, really like these changes because I don't want to see that much Moira. She's a strong hero. I think she will still be very good. The thing about this hero is that it's a very risk-free hero. You just like Q yourself, portal key in the fight, and boom, you're done. So Moon Queen Lunar Glow is the main reasoning for this change is the same as for Arachna, which I didn't mention yet, but it's to make the hero different. Remember at the start I said make every hero unique. So Arachna's E and Moon Queen's E were pretty much identical, except Arachna also gave you True Strike, and it's also very similar to Andromeda's E. So instead this is being changed to also give Moon Queen herself some night vision radius, so that it's more unique and something only Moon Queen has. So I believe Moon Queen is now the best night vision hero in the game. So yeah, that's something unique. So maybe if you're running a gank lineup or you want to avoid getting ganked at night, you should consider this hero. Something unique. Rex is just receiving some slight nerfs, nothing special. A new Staff of the Master. I didn't even really get how it works. I don't know. I just don't think that's a good Staff of the Master hero, but it could be good. Myrmidon, magic armor reduced on your ultimate. The ultimate was never really about the magic armor, so that's fine. Pandemonium receiving a lot of quality of life changes. He should have more mana to cast skills. They have less cast time. Just should be more of a pleasure to play Pandemonium. I did play Pandemonium before and I already liked him before, so but rather I do think that he was a little bit clunky and it felt a little bit weird playing him, so this should definitely help and make him more interesting. Parallax, just slight damage adjustments. Basically Q deals a bit more damage. R in some cases will deal more, but in most cases will deal less, so just nothing special. Parallax is a very strong hero, so these small adjustments, I guess they're okay, although I think Parallax was sort of fine. Now Pearl got a pretty significant rework, kind of. The biggest change out of all of these is that you can now purge buffs or debuffs from allies. You can cast Q on allies. And the R going through Magic Community to push people away is also a pretty big deal. Might play Pearl, but it's not really that significant of a change to warrant a video. I'll see. Pestilence just receiving some help to his W, deals more damage now, stuns for a longer duration, just good stuff. Pestilence did need some help. Prophet is a hero that I might make a video on. His skills receive some serious changes. The second skill now gives you more attack speed for more attacks, not just 2, and your E now has more procs. The number of procs increased by 1, so you can proc it up to 5 times, which is good for interrupting stuff, and I think it deals a bit more damage now as well. So good stuff on Prophet. Your ultimate has been changed to no longer have 3 charges, but instead it's now a lot bigger and lasts for longer and slows better. Not sure exactly how I feel about this change. We'll have to see it work out in game. The thing is that I liked the old ultimate, but at the same time I'm a hypocrite because I didn't really play Prophet much. So not sure I can comment and say, well, I don't like this change because, well, I didn't play Prophet too much even though I like the hero. So I'm thinking maybe this changes for the better. Now Prophet, definitely a hero that we will play. Received a rework where the hero is no longer about just farming the jungle and keeping your stacks maxed on the ultimate for as long as possible and then coming out and two-shotting people. Instead, the hero is now about team fights. You can still farm. The short skill has also been reworked where it's now passively giving you damage and also can be activated for bonus attack speed, which is a lot more fun to use for sure than the previous shield thing. But yeah, the main change is the ultimate now only charges from heroes. it made Ravnar kind of this hero where if you have max charges, you're gonna wreck. If you don't have max charges, you're gonna suck. So now it's kind of more consistent, and I guess the biggest point to take away here is that the ultimate was never about getting max charges and keeping them while farming creeps. It was more about getting stronger as you deal damage in team fights. So I don't know, it's gonna be interesting to see. This could change the build order for the hero, where Portal Key and Abyssal Skull are not as good, because you might want more survivability to survive in the fight longer for your ultimate to get more charges. But we'll see. Ridgewalker, just a quality of life change. I might play this hero because I kind of like her, and this change could make her a lot better. So basically, the third skill now pulses faster. Instead of being like boom, boom, it's more like boom, boom, boom. Still deals the same amount of damage, but the area effect has been increased, and it's faster. Riptide, might play him just because I love Riptide, but I already went on enough bloodbaths and immortals, I think, in my videos for them. So just second skill, increased duration of the slow. Third skill, reduced cooldown. Ultimate is easier to control, just general quality of life stuff. Scout, just increased in movement speed and the Q on later levels. Shouldn't really affect suiciding as much because on the earlier levels it's still kind of the same. And I usually keep it on level 1 until level 7 or 8. So Scout, interesting changes, but just nothing special, just helping Scout a bit. Silhouette, ultimate no longer as annoying, but still annoying, nothing special. Succubus is a hero that I think I will play for a video, so you can expect that. In general, her cast ranges have been adjusted, or no, that's only on E, I believe. Yeah, but in general, cast action times have been reduced, which means you cast your skills faster. So it should feel less bad. And also, if you E yourself, you can cancel it anytime, which is a good change. Some good quality of life changes for Succubus, which could have a pretty significant impact. So I think I'm gonna try player for a video. Tundra, this is a very weird change, in my opinion. Basically, Tundra is now the counter to Veiled Rot, which is interesting to have, but just weird. I don't know. I mean, if you wanted to counter Veiled Rot, maybe like a hero like Cersei would do, because you could spawn an illusion and send it somewhere, and then anyone who would walk near it, the Veiled Rot state would be dispelled. But I don't know, interesting changes. Just basically Tundra is now the Veiled Rot guy, and the skill just scales a bit more linearly. It's now not like Shivers, you level up, Shiver gets a bonus, Coral gets a bonus, Shiver gets a bonus, Coral gets, but they both kind of get bonuses as you level up. And more attack speed from Cold Shoulder, that's also interesting. Now, Vindicator received a huge rework where basically he doesn't suck anymore as a hero and as a design concept. So your first skill is now basically an AoE damage skill that disarms for a short duration. So basically an AoE disarm that deals damage. It's very fun to use, a lot more fun to use than that weird like mana drain mechanic, intelligence drain. So a lot more fun as a skill. Yeah, just good changes. The Vindicator is in general just more of a disabler now, as he should be as a Vindicator. Second skill, no longer an attack modifier, which means you can buy like a shield breaker or something and it will work together with your second skill. He also, the interesting change, gets 1 intelligence from any nearby enemy hero that dies. So he collects intelligence similar to how Devour collects strength from kills. Your E is basically now an area of effect silence and a bigger area of effect slow. So you can instantly silence someone, and your second skill deals 50% bonus damage to anyone who's silenced, which it works together well with in English. Your ultimate, basically you can cast it more often, but you need to wait a while before it gets really strong. If you cast it right after it comes off cooldown, it won't last as long, so it won't be as strong. But a big change is that now it also applies a slow for 1 second. So it's very good to initiate with it. It feels a lot better. Or when someone's running away, just ult and catch up with him and just kill him. So basically, overall, Vindicator is no longer a huge mess and an interesting hero. And I will definitely explain it more in detail in the video, which I will definitely make on it. War Beast, mana cost and battle cry increased. I suppose War Beast may be needed in nerf, but I don't really like this direction because the second skill costing less mana was interesting, so to speak, and was unique to War Beast. Wild Soul, Boo Boo now deals more damage to creeps. We'll probably make a Wild Soul video just because I like Wild Soul. Maybe we'll get back into it. So far, I think I've won most of my games with the new Wild Soul. Wretched Hack Quality of Life. Zephyr is another hero that we will make a video on, where his cyclones are a lot better for jungling, and the damage is a lot more consistent and less random. The overall damage I think is either the same or a bit buffed, so that's good. And also there's a lot less tedium. Like you no longer have to like press W to use a cyclone right before it expires, so you don't have to like watch the time like it's 1 second W. Oh, I got the most to heal out. You don't have to do that anymore. You can just wait for it to expire and it'll heal you for just as much as if you pressed it. So a lot less tedious as a skill. Zephyr kind of needed heals, which is good. And yeah, that's kind of it. In the item changes, Merrick's Bounty received a slight nerf because it was a bit too good. I think now it's more of a choice whether you get Merrick's Bounty or not, so maybe it can be good if you don't pick up Merrick's Bounty on a support. Could be a viable build. And Thunderclaw costs more because it was too good. Charged Hammer was nerfed. The cost was reduced, I mean, to compensate. Charged Hammer is the same, was nerfed. And finally, jungle changes. I guess you should remember this change. We're basically the camp with 2 wild hunters. One of them is no longer magic immune, and instead has the invisibility, which he doesn't use unless you take him over. So basically you can use a magic skill to help you clear out that camp a little bit, because only one of them is magic immune now. And the biggest change is that corpses no longer block camps from spawning, which means you don't have to kill all the creeps before like 34 or 37 or whatever seconds. You can kill the creeps right before the camp spawns, and pulling and stacking is easier and less tedious, which I like because I suck at stacking really hard, but maybe other people won't like because it's skill and stuff. But it was kind of skillful, but at the same time it was kind of hard to tell someone why it makes sense. It's like, well, you have to kill creeps before 30 seconds on the clock or it won't stack. It was kind of weird. So yeah, this is the buff to junglers that I was talking about to compensate for the experience changes for 2 people in lane. And that's gonna be it. That's my patch. I did this patch video longer because the last patch I did was very short. The patch review was very short and a lot of people didn't like it, and I kind of realized that a lot of people watch me because they often like more long videos, especially when it comes to patch analysis. So I decided to keep this one long and good. That's what she said. Oh! So hopefully I explained everything. Have any questions about any change or you disagree with something, post it in the comment section below. I will try answer your concerns, and I will see you sometime in the future, tomorrow, or maybe still today.